How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Mastermind Academy. Almost was late, but I wasn't late. Eddie, I'm sorry, you are not first. You may appear to be first on yours. You are not first. Actually, Rad Dad, Princessica Mom, phenomenal name. That's who was first. I'm sorry. I'm glad you had to drop everything to come learn a little bit about Terraform. What's up, McKeith? We are not doing that project. We are currently working on that project on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Right now, it is Hoist, infrastructure provisioning with Terraform. That's what we're learning tonight. It's a 6-part series. We are on part 3 of that 6-part series. Yes, this is in fact my desktop background, and I think it changes depending on the music that's playing. So let's see. Let's try. Oh no, it doesn't. Some of the backgrounds change depending on, you know, what background music's playing. But yeah. What's up, Nora? How you doing? What's up, Daho Ramos? Welcome to the channel. Good to have you. Hey, Shy Ryan. No, this is Windows. I'm using I bought it in Steam. What is it called? Wallpaper Engine. You can buy it in Steam. It's like $2.99. And they have a bunch of live wallpapers you can use. And like, I have 3 monitors and it runs on all of them. It can be pretty heavy, to be honest, but it's pretty good on mine. It's working out really well. Working pretty well. It's fun. I'm gonna switch it up probably weekly, maybe. Whenever I remember to switch it up, to be honest, it's when I'm gonna switch it up. But they got some pretty cool stuff on here. But tonight, we're gonna get through tonight pretty quick. Not gonna take a long time tonight because I have I have a late night meeting. I have a meeting to take tonight, kind of right at 9. So we're gonna try to get out of here exactly by 9. But tonight we're gonna be learning about a couple different things in Terraform. Gonna be pretty simple. Tonight's concepts are not gonna be too crazy tough, but we will get in and we will, you know, get hands on to the code base that we've already started building out. But tonight we'll be learning about variables, input variables, output variables as well as modules, and so that will be what we do. And so we do have slides. You can head over to, actually, I don't know if I made them public, but you can head over to academy.mastermind.io/hoist and scroll down. I'll give you the actual link to the day 3 slides. There's no cool links tonight. I do my best, Mr. Smoothie. I do my best to always have the dopest backgrounds or really fun backgrounds. So I'm tired of saying it, but I have a video coming out about specifically Linux desktop personalization and customizations. I truly it's hard for me. I need my background, I need my workspace to look good for me to want to work. I know that may be bad, you know, real good motivation means you can just do stuff, but not me. I need it to be looking good and feeling good for me to feel, excited to do it. And so, I constantly switch up the way my stuff looks, just to, give me a creative, fun space that I enjoy being. But that should be public now. Now, if we probably refresh this, maybe we'll get the mark, but we'll share this out for anyone. Oh, actually, I just shared the page. That works. That's it. Yep. And you can get to the slides. And again, not many slides at all tonight. So we'll have time. Ask your questions tonight. After the kind of initial run, I don't think any night will be as jam-packed as last Wednesday was with stuff. I don't think we'll have to go over pretty much on any of them because, like I said, Terraform itself, the tool itself, is really not that crazy. What's harder is to actually learn the platform that you're going to be using to manage with Terraform. But Terraform itself, concepts aren't crazy vast, but we'll talk about a lot of them. And so tonight we're going to dive into these things that we're going to dive into. Let's give people a few more minutes. I don't have any. I almost got some LaCroix yesterday, but I'm gonna I'm gonna try to stick with normal water. Doing my best to stick with normal water. I'm gonna grab some in a little bit, but yeah, I think we're gonna, I love LaCroix. This is not we're still LaCroix, you're still close to our hearts, but I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to I don't know, you know, LaCroix 0 calories, you know, 0 everything else, you know. I think the thing at the bottom of the can says it says something like innocent plus no. It says like 0 calories plus 0 sweetener equals innocent or something. Really weird thing, but I don't know. I'm gonna stick with the regular water for a little while, and we're gonna see how that works out. But sometimes it does quench my desire for like a soda. I do like sodas. Unfortunately, we had a little cookout this weekend for some family members, just to kind of say hi. We haven't seen people in a long time. A little social distancing thing, and so we had some sodas, and I gotta admit, I drank more of them than I wanted to. Like, I really stay away from sodas, but we had some ginger ale. I am a Canada Dry guy, but we had some Schweppes or some Schweppies, but yeah. Oh yeah, but also today, so if anyone doesn't know, I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and today there was actually a explosion, a gas explosion, destroyed a few houses here, and me and my wife's family was affected by this a little bit, but so we were there kind of all day, kind of out in the sun, trying to make sure everything was good. We were there for a while, but everything's okay. We were, again, super fortunate, like really close. The houses that were affected were super duper close. I think they had some windows blow out and stuff, but everyone's okay. So we're blessed. We are, you know, can't ask for a better outcome for us. You know, unfortunately, I think one person has passed so far, and they found maybe 5 or 6 people. So, you know, thoughts and prayers go out to those families. Pretty wild, actually, but yeah, everything's good on this end. So a couple people sent me some messages on Twitter. Thank you I do appreciate it, but we're all good over here. We're definitely all good over here, fortunately. But okay, let's get started tonight, because like I said, I got to get out of here exactly at 9. But Hoist, infrastructure provisioning with Terraform, day 3 of 6. So what have we covered so far? So far, we've kind of just learned about what Terraform is. We've learned that it's this amazing infrastructure as code tool that's going to allow us to automatically and consistently and repeatedly deploy code, define what it is that we want, configure the services and the resources that we want, and use Terraform to kind of manage that and create those things for us. We've built out I think an S3 bucket that hosts static websites, as well as an EC2 instance last time, and we learned about the Terraform workflow. So we learned that, hey, you write the code, you make sure it's valid after you write that code, you make sure you format it if you want as well. Those are kind of optional steps, but then you plan it out, and then you apply it to go ahead and deploy all of your stuff. But now tonight we're going to learn about some other cool topics like variables, and these tonight specifically are this collection of things is going to really help you make your templates more dynamic, make your configuration much more dynamic, and it's going to make it so that you can reuse these things in many more places. So yeah, so variables, input variables specifically, maybe I should change that actually, to make it a little more descriptive. These are input variables because outputs, commonly referred to as outputs, these are actually output variables. So we'll put that in there just to make sure we are not confused. Correct, I am in Baltimore. I'm from PG County, but DC, that we always tell people we're from DC. Makes it a little bit easier, right outside of DC, 10 minutes from DC. But yeah. Should Puppet be used today? Sure, yes. I mean, yes, there are places in which Puppet should be used. I think if you can, you should. There are ways to not have to use it, but yeah, there are definitely places where configuration management tools are still being used, and I think Puppet is a fine one. I don't think it's the best option. I think Ansible is the best option today, but sure, why not? Yes, so actually, you know what? I actually did upload all the previous ones, so they're on here on Twitch. You can actually go watch them on Twitch, but I did, in fact, I did upload all of the videos to YouTube. The only problem is I did not publish them because I didn't give them names yet, because they took so long to upload. I kind of had to just like let them go, and I uploaded them this morning, I think. Let me make sure they uploaded properly. But I can just give them names, and I can Yes, so they all did upload. So not only the two, these are the two from last week, and all of these are contained. Anyone who missed contained, which was our 6-part series with containers, those will be up as soon as we're done here. I'll give them names just so, and like paste in descriptions, and I will publish them. It just takes, my upload speeds are not amazing, so I kind of just do them in batches. So yes, I did get there. I rendered them out. They are here. I'll just have to, you know, enable them after this. So I'll make sure to get that done. But let's do this. Let's see how fast we can get out of here today. But variables, this is a fun one. Variables are really cool. So HCL, HashiCorp configuration language, allows you to use variables for making dynamic configurations. These variables can be used to specify values for parameters and arguments that may change depending on how you are using the configuration. So anyone who's not familiar with variables, if you've haven't really dove into a programming language or anything, you never touch variables. Variables are simply they're a placeholder. They're placeholder that represent a value. So maybe I had the variable of name, and in that in that variable I could append a value. I could put a value in there. So for that name, I could put my name in there. My name could be Aaron, but the word variable means that it can change. That's literally what variable means. It means that it's changeable. So we can change the value of that name to something else, maybe to Brian. And as we refer to the variable name throughout our code, we can use it to track data basically. And so, you know, it could be Aaron up top, and then maybe we can modify some stuff and maybe change that variable name to Brian. And later on, when we try to access that variable, it'll be of value Brian rather than value Aaron. But it's kind of a placeholder for some data, and we're gonna see that live right now. But they're pretty dope. There's a couple of different ways that you can like use these things. Whereas in coding, Python or something, so like actually top of the terminal. If I were to drop into the Python interpreter, a variable would be something like this. I would say, again, name equals Aaron. All right. But if I printed out name, if I wanted to see what name was, it would print out Aaron because that's who we assigned it. But I can change that. It was Aaron here, but now it can be something else like George. And then if I print it out again, the name is now George. So this placeholder, this can be anything. So if I wanted the variable to be X equals 10, and then I were to print X, it's going to print the value of 10. And so we can do the same kind of thing inside of Terraform. And again, variables are really good because they allow for a layer of dynamicism, I think. Dynamicism, I think is what I'm looking for, as well as some really cool ways to make sure configuration is proper, and a good way to manage kind of different values throughout your code. And so the way that we're going to do that is, I don't want this. Let's clear this out. Dynamicity. Well, lots of syllables. I'm struggling, it's hard. Let's make it immutable. Everything's immutable, okay? Everything, literally everything is immutable. Config management tools are losing their appeal due to ISC having those features. Yes, Sin City. Yep, my daily rant about configuration management tools. Build time configuration is where it's at for a number of reasons. Okay. What's about to do? Oh, Terraform variables. A couple of different ways you can do them. And so this is always pretty interesting. How can we declare variables? You can declare a variable like a resource in your configuration. So we'll do that first. You can actually define a variable right in the same configuration that we've already written, and that'll work. But a more common way, and the way that you'll commonly see it done, is using a variables.tf file. So we know that .tf is the file extension for a Terraform file. You can create a variables.tf file where you can define all of your variables. Now, These things will be tied to that current module or workspace or wherever you're doing it. We haven't learned about some of those things yet, so not a big deal. We'll learn about the scoping of these variables as we kind of go throughout these classes, but this is going to be the main place that you're probably going to put them, and not this one up here. It's probably going to be right here. Now you'll put all your variables in here, only your variables in here, and then you'll reference those variables inside of your other Terraform files. Now there's also a paradigm of something called terraform.tfvars or terraform.tfvars.json. All of these files types, all files of any of these names, will get picked up in the Terraform configuration by default whenever you do a plan and apply, if they are named this. If they're not named this, you can name them other things. You'll have to tell Terraform to use them. But these files are a little bit different as to, whoops, what did I just do? Here in this file, you will simply you'll declare the variables, and you can set default values here, so you can declare them here. And so two things happen when you declare a variable. Well, when you want to use a variable, you have to declare it first. So you have to tell the computer, hey, I'm going to create a space, I'm going to create a variable, and I need to create some space for this, and it's going to hold a value. So that's declaring it first, and then you assign it a value later, where you now put a value into that space that was kind of carved out in the computer for that variable. The variables.tf allows you to declare them and possibly give it some values, but tfvars, you cannot, as far as I know, you cannot declare variables there. The variables have to already exist. They have to already be in place, either in this variables file or the one up here. And here's where you can just define, you can assign them values. So any variables that were created here or here, you can override them basically using this tfvars or this tfvars.json. These are kind of key value stores. So if my variable again is name, Aaron, and then age 30, you can put those directly into these files, and it's pretty cool. And the last way you can do it is using environment variables. So if you prefix an environment variable, a Linux environment variable with this capital TF underscore var underscore, and then the name of the variable, Terraform will actually pick that up. It'll actually pick up any type of environment variables that exist, and that's pretty cool because it's another way for you to kind of do some of this configuration. That's really good in a number of situations where you're invoking different kind of scripts to manage your Terraform. It can be kind of nice to do that. One anonymous dingo: how crazy of an idea would it be to go from AWS SysOps cert and skip the cloud practitioner cert? I have some experience with AWS console. Not crazy at all. I generally don't recommend people sitting for the cloud practitioner cert. And if you have any AWS experience or any like systems experience, I actually don't recommend you sitting for the cloud practitioner cert. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't study the material for it. Like if you're just getting into AWS, I think it can be valuable to study that material, but I do not recommend that you sit for that test if you've already have some of that experience. Absolutely go for the SysOps cert, but I will say SysOps is the hardest of the associate level certs. It's not impossible at all. It's not nuts, but it is the hardest of the associate level certifications. So you just gotta, make sure you're on your A game a little bit. They ask you some interesting systems questions, whereas the other two are really focused on AWS services. SysOps is, but they ask you some interesting systems questions, kind of intertwined with the solutioning. So be ready for that. But I'd say skip it for sure. Doing the prep for AWS Associates exam. Yeah, the SysOps one is an associate level exam. But yeah, cool. So let's see how these work a little bit. Let's try some of these out. And I'm gonna try to think of some cool stuff off the cuff. This is the repo that we already have. I'll send a link to this repo if anyone wants to copy this once we get in here. But let's actually start another one really quick. Let's make a directory for, what is this, day 3? Let's make one for day 3. Let's do that. And let's actually steal a little bit, day 3, and let's copy Hoist. I think we call this infrastructure. Let's copy this here and let's take a look at it. I'm kind of lazy and I didn't want to reset up the provider sections and stuff, but we'll remove most of this stuff and we'll just keep the EC2 instance stuff. And let's delete that. And let's remove F2, delete. All right, let's do this. So we have one instance. So we're just gonna spin up an EC2 instance. Let's call it development var server, development variable server for here. We'll call this Hoist variable development. So this is just a little bit of Terraform code that's set up to use AWS up here. And then this is so this will allow it to authenticate using our AWS credentials. And then this down here will just set up, it's the configuration for an Amazon EC2 instance. It's basically a virtual machine. And there's some information here. There's a key name, so this will allow us to log in, and the name of the server that we can identify, the AMI, which is the base image for this to be booted off of, which is Ubuntu. So we're saying, hey, go ahead and spin us up a server using Ubuntu 1804, you know, of this size. So we're gonna use this to spin something up, but here's where let's actually add in some variables. So one, let's do a Terraform plan really quick. Let's do a Terraform init first, because this is a new directory. We'll do a Terraform init here. And then after we do that Terraform init, let's do a Terraform plan. Remember, you don't have to do plan if you're using Terraform 0.12 or later, you can do an apply and it will plan it for you, then ask you, but you can still do plan as it exists. But take a look at some of these things that we passed in. Things like the AMI were passed in just like this, which is great. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, in Amazon, we are currently deploying all of our stuff to US East -1. This is a region. Again, this is not Terraform specific. This is Amazon Web Services specific, but it's a region that the data centers live in. If I were to deploy, if I lived on the West Coast and most of my customers were on the West Coast of the United States, I would deploy these things over there. And so I might change this to US West 1. Now, when that happens, these things right here, these AMIs, these machine images that say, hey, use Ubuntu 1804, these are different values between regions. Every region, these AMIs have a different ID. And so I'm not gonna show you how to do any like ternary statements right now and make those decisions yet. We'll learn some of that a little bit later, but maybe you don't want this to be a hard coded value is what I'm trying to say. And so what you can do is you can set up a variable. What's up, Chaco Foxy? We are learning some Terraform. We're doing a 6-part series learning how to provision infrastructure using the amazing tool called Terraform, the open source tool by HashiCorp called Terraform. That's what we're doing. They got edge locations at 5G towers now too. That is, I did hear about that. It is pretty darn crazy. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, then you would believe that that is what caused the coronavirus. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. It's a very dumb thing. So if you believe that, I'm not calling you dumb. I'm saying that your beliefs are dumb. So, okay. I'm glad we cleared that up. And so what you can do is, let me just show you in the actual Terraform documentation, because Terraform is phenomenal, actually. Their documentation is phenomenal. So do Terraform variables. And like I said, this is generally not the way you're gonna do this. But if you want to know where to go to kind of see where you can reference what this looks like, because again, we may do it, we may move too fast, you may not understand. Their documentation is really good, but you can declare a variable very similarly to how you declare anything else, any of the resources. So you see variable here, say, hey, write a little block of code saying, I'm now declaring a variable. Here's my variable name. And here is kind of the value that it is. So this is not the value, this is the type. So remember, we learned that HashiCorp configuration language is actually strongly typed. So you can have different types of things. You can also have collections. So you can have things like integers, like Boolean values, so true or false values. You can have things like strings, which are words, think words, letters, phrases. Yeah, that's what a string is. That's where you pick the type. And this is all you need to declare a variable. But if you just declare it, then later on you must also assign it a value. But what you can do is you can assign it a value, you can assign it a default. So you can set up the type, and then you can set a default value for it. So if someone runs this code, but does not override, it does not give you a specific value for the variable, then it will use that default variable value. So we'll go ahead and we will set that up really quick. So yeah, let's just set up a very simple variable, and we'll call that variable machine image, because we're gonna set up a variable for this Amazon machine image. And we will do this, and we will set up the type, and that type will be equal to a string. So it needs to be a string, because that's what this is. When you see these quotes, you should be thinking strings. All right, and so if I were to plan for this, I'm not using this variable, but let's see. So anyone who's already familiar with programming languages, statically typed languages, strongly typed languages, I've declared a variable, but I haven't used it. So let's just see what happens, that I've declared this variable. I'm not using it anywhere. I didn't assign it a value. I just kind of created this little this variable kind of section here. And let's just see what happens if we were to go do a Terraform plan. And this is really cool. This is something I like about Terraform, is it won't give you a big error. It says, hey, you declared a variable here, but you did not give me a value. You said, hey, machine image is here. I'm supposed to use it, but I do not have a value for it. Go ahead and enter a value for it. And maybe I'll go ahead and enter something like this. This is not a real value, but maybe I'll enter in something like that. And when I try to run it, it says, hey, everything's going well. And there's really nothing in here because we haven't used the variable for us to care about. There's nothing really here. This is the same stuff that we saw before, the exact same plan that we saw before. So it works. So you can actually use, this machine image. You can declare a variable without using it inside of Terraform. But we need to use that. Let's actually use that. So let's do this. If we want to use it, you can head over back to here to see a couple different ways you can enter things. We will use this to enter in multiple variables in a second, but the way that you use it is to simply call it by var.variable name. So use this var prefix to kind of specify that you now want to reach into the variables that are available to you, and use the dot notation here and call the thing that you care about. So let's try to implement that really fast. So instead of hard coding the AMI like this, let me copy this because I'm gonna forget it actually. Let's are there other namespaces besides var constant? Var const. I don't think there's any const, not that I know of. Pretty sure var is it, because of the way that Terraform kind of executes its code. Var is pretty much all you need. I don't think there's any constants. They are kind of constants. But yeah, and secrets are handled differently. We'll definitely go over secrets. I think we'll go over secrets next time. Secrets can be handled differently, but generally secrets are also handled like variables. But you can there's very interesting ways you can handle secrets, but no, var is the only namespace that I know of for this type of thing. And what I wanted to do is I wanted this here so that I would know what to paste in. And so what we'll do in here is let's edit it and let's reference this machine image that we care about so much. var dot machine image. There we go. Forgot I had to have complete enabled in Vim. So this now will reference any variables that we have currently set up here. And so let's get out of here and let's go ahead and run another plan. And so same thing happens. We did not set up a value for this variable. We simply declared it. And now I'm just gonna do AMI dash this is a test, which obviously is not a valid AMI, but we just want to see if this is working. And when I hit enter, Terraform takes that on in, and it sets up its workspace and stuff, and it's setting that up as a variable in this current run. And if you take a look at it, the AMI value that is going to get added is AMI this is a test. Now this will fail, but this shows us that our variable attribute is in fact working. Pretty darn cool. Pretty simple, really nice for that. Now we don't want to do that. Obviously that's really annoying when you're running these things. You do not want to input a value, and you might want to say, hey, normally we're running in US East 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a default value here. What's up, Drogba? Thank you so much for the follow. What's up, Death by Code? That was a little more over an hour ago, so maybe you're not here anymore. What's up, French Toasters? Love the name. Good to have you. Welcome to the channel. So what we can do is we can set up that default value right here. Whoa. And I think it's just default equals, and then you set up whatever the default value you want is, not that. Default equals, Z, what do we want? Scroll on up, we want this value right here. I think default is exactly how you do it, but we can confirm here with just default equals. Now this right here is in brackets. The reason why it's in brackets is because this type is not just a string, it's a list of strings, and so the bracket allows you to do the list, but we don't have a list here. We simply have a string, and so what we're gonna do is paste that in right here, and now this will be the default value. If no value is passed in, this will become the default value for what we want to do. And if we were to do this and we were to plan one more time, check it out. Now we have the correct AMI. This is the AMI that we want, and we have it here, and it can now be used. So that's exciting. It's like, all right, cool, we can set up these variables, but that doesn't really make it all that dynamic, to be honest. If we're like this, specifying the variable right here isn't really doing anything for us in the current state that we have it in, because we have set a default value. That means that this can be overwritten in certain ways. In the way that we have it set up now, there's a couple of ways we could do it. We can override it using that tfvars thing, so we could write a tfvars file, but we could also move this out into its own variables.tf file, and so let's do that next. AMIs are region specific. If you don't pick the one in USEC early setup, yes, correct. Yes, that will not work. So we're gonna stay in US East 1, and this one will work, but if we were deploying west, this would not work. So everything is region specific. Variable become useful when you want to do multiple iterations, like run var in a list. That's true as well. Variables also are really good depending on different environments are where they really shine. When you have multiple environments or multiple workspaces as well, they're really good at that. In CloudFormation, you can add an AWS type to a string param. So there's a list of EC2 subnets and add it as a nice level validation as formatted connector. Yes. Can you add validation to these string inputs? Great question. Phenomenal question to adding validation to these string inputs. Now, from before 0.13, I don't think that you could, or it was very difficult. There is validation in 0.13 and up. I'm not super familiar with all the changes in 0.13, but so I guess you could before, but custom validation rules is what we got out of 0.13. Something I still have to learn myself, but yes, you can set up some conditions for validating these string inputs. if you'd like. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. So again, this is a newer thing that I'm still not super familiar with. So definitely something, maybe we'll try to incorporate this. I think I have 0.13 installed. Let's find out really quick. I don't remember what version we installed. Dash Death by Code, appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming by and saying with the kind words. I really do appreciate it. What's up, Derpin Stillskin? Also a great name. I had to get more clever with my names, even though I do have the greatest game streaming Twitch name ever created, even though I don't game stream, but you know, I have the best name ever, which is for everyone who wants to know. I'll send in a quick message. Let me actually log into my own stream, do a little bit of stream inception real quick. Hello stream, comma, it is me, ya boy. There we go. The best name ever. Please follow my game streaming channel. We don't we don't play any games like almost ever. I've streamed like maybe for a total of 10 minutes on that channel, but Stone Cold Stream Austin, the best stream name ever. I had to grab it. It was available. I had to get it. We had Mastermind Gaming, but then we had to switch over to Stone Cold Stream Austin. Okay, so that's one way you can do it. Let's move over our variables into the second thing that we talked about, which was this variables.tf file. So we can declare a variable right in our Terraform template, but this is the preferred method to kind of keep things kind of clean, is to move all of your variables out into this variables.tf file. And it does matter that the file is called variables.tf. So I'm gonna create a variables.tf file. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm simply gonna, let me open up this, and I'm gonna take this variable right here, and I'm going to paste this over here. All right, whoa. All right, let's save this. So it's no longer, what am I doing? My fingers are fat and I'm causing all kinds of problems. There we go. So we removed it from this main infrastructure.tf file. We're taking the variable completely out of this file, but what we're gonna do, I didn't save the other file, did I? Day 3, wow, I didn't, how do I do a new file here? Is it add node, variables.tf, nerd tree node not created. It must already exist. Let's save everything because maybe it's still there. Oh, it is there. That was weird. I should have refreshed the nerd tree window, but now I moved it over here to this file. And so also what I'll do is I'll also I want to set up a second variable. Maybe we want to set up one for the count. The count, remember last time, the count was how we set the number of resources that were spun up out of that resource block. And so maybe I want to do something like this. Maybe I want to say variables, server num or something, I don't know. And maybe we want to set this type. It is not a string, it is actually an int. I can't remember, I never remember if it's an int or integer, but we'll set that up in a second. But we'll say by default, this is set to 1 by default. And let's actually confirm. Actually, I'll find out real fast by just doing a plan. So now if we look at our two files, we need to make one more change anyway. So let's open up this, and let's open up this, and over here we have our variables. Over here we have our resources, and I will set up our resources here. The count, instead of using the number 1, it'll use var dot the variable name. So var dot and then the variable name that we created. So var dot server num will reference that for us. Okay. And maybe we could also do, and so you can do it for everything. Let's have fun with it. Let's set up another variable. And let's set up instance size. And this type's also going to be a string, and we'll set up a default here as well. And the default size is going to be the one that's there now, t3.micro. Oops. And close that out. And so now we'd have to get over here. Whoa. And we'll save that. And over here, instead of t3 micro, I don't need these either. We need var dot instance size. And so you can see here that I'm starting to change pretty much everything in the variables. And this is pretty common because this makes things really configurable. It allows you to pass in values a little more easily to again, make these things dynamic. And I know I've said it over and over again, and it may not make sense to you right now. We will get to a point, probably maybe next time, either next class or the first class of next week, where we are kind of spinning up multiple environments, and we can see how these environments files, these variables files, how they really allow us to change things up on the fly depending on where we are. So let's save both of these. And let's do another Terraform plan and make sure our numbers and things look good. So it is not int, it must be integer. I never remember variables. I don't know why I never remember, but probably because I don't do that much Terraform. I would like to do a lot more, so we will do more here. It's not integer. Let's see what it is. It's not number, is it? Terraform variable types. I could have just scrolled to the bottom of the page that we were at. Let's see, number. It is number and not integer. No. I'm trying to fi delete to the end of the line. I'm trying to use these Vim tools, and actually, I guess that wouldn't even be the best way. What would be the best way? Would it be A and no? Maybe it is. I'm trying to be fancy, but my fingers won't let me. Yep, $, delete it. I was trying to see if I could I was kind of seeing if I could like in place overwrite, but no need. Type, what's the type? Type is number. There we go. We'll save that out and let's plan it on out. All right, so whenever the plan works, you know that you at least have valid Terraform. So we probably should go back and start doing the things that we were, you know, the workflow that we had gotten comfortable with. So I probably should have, you know, done a Terraform, maybe a Terraform validate. I don't know why I said validate like that. Like I knew it was validate. And Terraform format. So it actually did switch up my variables.tf file. So let's take a look at it. And so, you know, it just made all of the equal signs here nice and even, make it even more readable than it was. Really nice. And then what we can do is do the plan again just so we can see what we have in there. And let's make sure that our variables took. So we had 3 different variables. We had one for the AMI, we had one for the instance size or instance type, and we had one for the count. And so the way that we can see the count is simply by how many items are kicked out during the plan. So there's a single one kicked out during the plan and it would only add 1. But our AMI is here and our instance type T3 micro is also here. Again, these are not things that we declared in the main file. So there we go. Control V, arrow is highlight. R alignment is tricky. I don't know what the R alignment thing is. I'll check that out. D also deletes to the end of the line instead of, oh really? Capital D. Okay, that's pretty good. C to go into insert mode. What is, hold on. Ryan 1473, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Good to have you. Really appreciate the support. Trophy only works with the insert. Hold on, let me try C to go into insert mode. Hold on real quick. I need to know what we're doing over here with that. C changes to the end of the line is hold on. Thank you. These are the things that I need. So you're saying that if I was trying to delete number, so you're saying first I would have to like, so if I go F in, whoops, oh, that's because I did C first. So if I go F in and then I go capital D, capital C, or you're saying, hold on, are you saying this? Are you saying if this was back at the beginning of the line? Oh, whoops, whoa, what am I doing? So just, what is that? Hold on, I like this. So FN, oh, that's phenomenal. Cream blast. Oh, that's the most useful Vim command anyone has taught me in a long time. That is that's great. But it puts you in an insert mode. That is phenomenal. Because you know what sucks about the capital D is if I do capital D, it drops my cursor back one. I don't like that. I don't like that it like where it puts me. I'm not in insert mode. If I go into insert mode, I now have to put a space there. Oh, this is phenomenal. I love that. That is a phenomenal. Is there one to also is there one to delete to the end of the file but also go into insert mode? That would be cool too, but that's not as important to me. I very seldomly need to do that, but I was just wondering. That's pretty cool. W will go to the next word. I need to learn that. I need to start using the W, the W stuff. I like, there's some of the simpler navigation commands that I don't use that I need to. I know DG will delete to the end of the file, but it doesn't put you in insert mode, I don't think. So maybe CG. We got to check. Nah, CG doesn't do that. Oops. Okay, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. All right, phenomenal. Okay, this is exciting for me. So I'm not gonna apply that. Okay, so now let's move on to the next piece. Let's take a look at the TF vars. So right here, I have the variables file, which declares the variables, and I have some default setup in there, but I can also set up a Terraform .tf vars file, and the tf vars file is, again, it's another file to declare variables, or not to declare variables, to assign variable values. Yeah, and it does not allow you to, let's see, type constraints. You cannot declare a variable here. The variable has to already be declared, so either in the main TF file or in the variables.tf file. And the TF vars will allow you to do these things. So Terraform. What's nice about TF vars is it's a little bit simpler. You don't have to do the whole variable block. You simply do a key and a value. Let's see, define variables. Yeah, so TF vars, from a file to persist variable values, create a file and assign it, and so it'll look more like this. And so we can also do it with the region up top, but it'll look more like this. So we can override all these variables like this. And so maybe if we said, hey, what were the variables that were in there? I forgot all the variables that are here. So let's open up our variables.tf file. Close that, and over here I might say, hey, machine underscore image equals, and then I'll give it an image name. So right now, well, I'll just override it with something else, AMI, and some gibberish, and I might say instance. I think this overrides it. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm tripping on scope because I'm used to using modules. We're about to learn about modules, but we'll find out real fast. Instance size equals, maybe we want to go T3 small instead of micro, and let's also go server num equals 5. not 45, just 5. And so this is a variable file. Again, you can set up all the variables that you need. Again, you can only declare a value. You cannot, you can only assign a value. You cannot declare a variable in TF-vars, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure you can't do that. So now if I were to do another plan, now that I have this TF-vars file here, let's see if anything changes. And look at that. First off, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Anyone who's not familiar with 0 indexing, you know, it is 5 of them. They start at 0, go from 0 to 4. And so there are 4 here, and you can see the AMI is now this gibberish that we wrote a little bit ago. Count got overridden, which is great. And this will also be a T3 small instead of a T3 micro. Yes, super confused about how they're different. I used to be very confused about how they were different. But yes, the variables.tf is going to generally be the main thing that you're going to go to. That is where the variables are actually created. You have to create them there, but the TF-vars allows you to simply assign them. So like, I'll show you if I try to put one of those blocks in here, Terraform TF-vars, it won't let me, I don't think. If I try to go like variable test, and I do type equals string, and I do well, I'll just do that. You don't need to do anything else. I'm pretty sure it's going to give me some kind of weird error when I try to plan. And yes, a TF-vars file is used to assign values that have already been declared in the .tf file. So that is what it's for. It is not for declaring them, only for assigning them values. So let's fix that. But yeah, that was super confusing to me when I first started. No one ever told me that. So this right here is where we would simply use our DG. See, you know, we're getting our Vim stuff out of the way. And so you can put them all up in here. Really nice. So TF-vars is a nice way to manage those variables, and that's the difference. Again, a lot simpler once they're already declared. Not super tough to do, just keys and values across the board. Like we can do another one here. I could also do something like maybe if I did try to do region, I try to do region equals US East -1. And so we haven't set up a variable for region, and we're not actually using it. But a lot of people will do stuff like this. So for the AWS provider, the F key over to U, delete inside. I'm killing the game. I'm getting so good at this. I could have just deleted everything. So you know what? That's actually a C usage. I got to practice. You know, that muscle memory is important. Let's go over one, and oh, nice. So we'll make this var.region. I'm gonna make it AWS_region, make it a little more descriptive. Now we have to create this. So we'll save and exit that. Let's open up variables, and let's add a new one down below. Variable. It's region, and the type. And we should have a default for this as well. US East -1. All right, so now we have AWS region. We're just adding more and more variables because we are learning variables tonight. So this is what our Terraform file looks like now. It just looks like, so we have 4 variables. We have 1 variable here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. We have all of those variables declared in this variables.tf file. So variables.tf is where we have it declared. And then we have them assigned values in the terraform.tf vars. If you are cool with the defaults, you don't need this file. But again, this is kind of how the setup would be. And again, simply go to plan. Everything works out. Ooh, undeclared value for undeclared variable. It's a warning. let's see, the root module does not declare variable region. Oh, okay, cool. So that's error on our part. So it's supposed to be AWS region. There we go. Cool. What's up, Scott Stemo? Welcome. Thank you so much for the host. Everyone who's watching through Scott Stemo's channel, welcome. I hope you're happy to learn about what we're about to learn about Terraform. So we're about to move on to modules, but anyone have any questions about variables so far? So we spend a lot of time on variables because they're important. We'll use them every night for the rest of the last 3 courses because they're super important. And they're pretty important to use. So that's all the things from this little list here. We didn't use the environment variable. Again, you could set an environment variable, so I could do something like this. I don't know if environment variables override, so let's find out actually if environment variables override. So what if we do something like so an environment variable, the way that you set it is you have to do something like this. Export, it has to lead with tf underscore var underscore and then the name. So let's say server num. Let's do machine image. Machine, I don't know the ordering of these. So let's say that equals machine image is going to be not a real AMI, sure, whatever. And so what that did is that set up a local environment variable, shell variable. So if I were to echo tf var underscore machine image, can't type, it would, oh no, tf, oh whoops, echo $, there we go. If I echo $, not a real AMI, it spits that out. But I don't know if the tf vars overrides this or if this overrides tf vars, but we can do this with a plan. So if we do Terraform, I don't use these that often. I've only used them a few times, but I've known them to be pretty valuable. And so it does not override that, but let's try removing this. Let's see what happens if we remove it from the tf vars file. So machine image, what if we do vim terraform.tf vars, and let's remove this from here and let's see if that works now. Yes, okay, so there's the order. Now we've learned our order. The way that it works is the tf vars file has the highest precedent. So whatever's in there, it will take. Then underneath that, it looks like it's it's an environment variable. And then underneath that, I guess it'll be the default value, which you have provided during the declaration. So cool. But it will take a an environment variable simply as long as you have that tf. As long as you have tf underscore var underscore and then the right name of the variable, it will pull that in as a value. It's smart enough to do that. I really like that. So pretty cool. It did use that, so we don't need that anymore. Okay, let's move on to modules because we spent a lot of time on there. Modules. This part is pretty short. I think this is a one slider, not because this is a small topic, but I think this is a topic that's better held or better learned hands-on. So tonight we're really talking about reusability. So reusable infrastructure as code. A module is a container for multiple resources that are used together. So multiple different resources that are used all together. Every Terraform configuration has at least one module known as the root module. So everything we've been doing so far is in the root module. But you can have more modules than that allow you to do some cool things. So that root module consists of the resources defined in the .tf files and the main working directory. So This is the main working directory. The one that we're in right now is the main working directory. This is the root module. What modules are is, again, they are little contained pieces of Terraform configuration that have multiple resources defined in them, or maybe have multiple resources defined in them that usually solve a particular goal or create a particular thing. And it's a really cool way for you to be able to pull in code and reuse things. Setting up modules is pretty cool. You can use other people's modules really easy. So Terraform modules, and again, this is going to be separate from your this is going to be you can grab these things from the Terraform registry, which is kind of cool. So there are already people publish these different modules to allow you to be easily, like, so they're collections of resources, and they provide you these modules so that you can easily create some pretty cool things in here. So we can create our own module, but we can also use one. So maybe we can see how this works really quick. AWS EC2 is what we've been building. Transit gateway, some other stuff. We don't really need an EC2 one because basically, yeah, we can create. We'll actually create our own live in a little bit. What's up, Large Dog? How you doing? We are doing good this evening. What's up? I am the God. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for the follow. All right, so modules, again, little self-contained pieces of code. Not self-contained, but there are isolated pieces of code that allow you to use resources together, and you can create them yourself, no problem, and it's pretty cool to do. What's up, Brett Miller IT? Welcome to the channel. Good to have you. Thanks for the follow. But you know, I simplified this a lot, but really creating a module is simply putting a TF file in a folder. Actually, I don't know why I did this. This is a little bit of inception. In the I didn't mean modules folder, I meant in the root directory. And this is actually not completely true. Yes, it's true, but it's not the only way to do it. But you know, we're going with the main comfortable way to do it while we're learning. But you put a TF file in a folder in the root directory. So if you want to start working on a module, you create a directory with that module name, and you put a TF file in there that you start leveraging some configuration, and then you call that module from the root module rather than doing anything, rather than specifying that resource. So this can be a little bit of an inception-y. It's gonna be a little confusing. If you're familiar with software development or any type of programming, this is kind of like using a function or like a method, which is a function as a part of a class, you know, whatever. But yeah, this is like using a function. So you have this outside you know, section of code that's built up of a bunch of resources that do some cool things, that's already been kind of configured for you to use, or you can configure it for you to use how you want to use it. And then in the root module, rather than defining all those things you need, you can call that that module, and it will do all the things that it needs to do. What's nice about this is whenever you need to make a change, you actually make changes just to the module and not to your root. Not to your root module. You just make the change to the module itself, and without any changes to the root module, you can go ahead and deploy it, and the changes will get made. And so this works best. It's best understood, I think, with when it's hands-on. And so we will go ahead and we will modularize. I think that's the word I'm looking for here. We will modularize our application. I think, is it modularized? Okay, whatever. You know, this is a class on tech. This is not an English course, but we do like to learn English. Okay, I'm trying to think of the best way to show you this, and we may just jump into the hands-on stuff that we have for time's sake, and that actually might be a good idea. So modules. Let's go back into Hoist Terraform, and one of the things we are going to be doing tonight, that we're actually just going to do right now, is one of the things is we are going to actually convert, turn our blog into its own module. So last time we simply wrote, let's look at this, infrastructure.tf. We have some code here that creates an S3 bucket, a simple storage service bucket that has web hosting enabled, that hosts a blog site for us. And so we have some code here to set that thing up. And it's only one resource really for this, but it could be more. And so what we can do is, right now, everything that we created previously is right here in the root module. There's no type of structure kind of here. Everything's, right here. If we were to define everything here, that's okay. It's not a problem, but it does play with reusability a bit. It also means the management of this is a little bit weird, and the structure of the code and understanding of things is a little bit weird. But what we can do is we can actually pull this thing out and put it into its own module. And so let's actually move that little store to in progress here. Turn blog in the module. These are all the things that we're going to do tonight. Not many things, but I think we have enough time if we start now to do this. And so we're gonna make this its own little piece of the pie. And so we're gonna make a directory really quick, and let's call this blog. Simply make a folder called blog. All right. And inside of this blog folder, so right here in the root, inside of the blog folder, we can create a whatever we want. We can call it terraform.tf, whatever we want to call it. But I'll call it blog.tf just because. How you doing, Ted Zillist? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. So we'll just call it blog.tf. The names of these files don't really matter. There are, again, a few defined names that are important, but for the most part, you can kind of call them whatever you want. And in here, we can take everything that we had from the other file, from all the S3 stuff. We can take it and put it right here. There's no special thing that has to happen here. Yeah, no special thing that has to happen. So let's go ahead and let's open up the infrastructure.tf. I think is what we wanted. And anyone, so since there seem to be a lot of Vim connoisseurs here, if anyone uses Nerd Tree, does anyone know how I cycle backwards a window or left a window? I know how to cycle like right a window and it'll wrap around, but I don't know how to cycle back one window, like to the left. Only know how to go to the right. Like I can go from over here to here to now here, and then back over here again, but I don't know how to go the other way. But what we'll do is we will take this. If you hit question mark, you can see Nerd Trigger. Yeah, but like only when you're over here. Yes, but I don't know. Bookmark preview. You're making me do. So here's the problem, Ted Zillis. You're making me do all the work. I don't want to do all the work. I want everyone to tell me the answer. No, I'm joking. I don't know. It's not super important right now. I'm just trying to get better. Oh, capital U. Oh, okay. So another question mark. No. No. I don't know. That's what I want. That's I think that's is that collapsing things? What is that doing? Oh, it's going up a directory. That's going up a directory. It's like showing me a higher directory. That's fine. So what I'll do here really quick is I'll just close this because I don't need it. What we want to do is move all of this over into its own module file. So we'll take this, we will grab it all, and we need to we'll delete all that from there. We'll paste it all here. Great. How do you scroll in Nerd Tree? Control W. So you can scroll like normally, like with J and K or the arrows. But for me to go, the way that I go window to window is Control WW. That's how I go back and forth. Control plus capital W. Whoa! See, you set me up. Well, you didn't set me up. I did that myself. That sucks. That don't do Control Shift W. That will be problematic. That closes windows, I guess. Yeah, that was weird. Back in Hoist Terraform CD blog. Vim blog.tf. It's probably gonna Okay, never mind. I'm glad I could do that. So we have this in its own file now. What we also have to do is there's a policy JSON that this actually takes. So vim blog blog.tf in here, it actually pulls in a policy JSON from right here. So I just got to put it in the right place really quick. And so I'm going to move policy JSON into blog so that's in the right place. Vim div, how do you, oh yes, I guess. Could you program a bot for automatic betting on certain betting sites? I mean, yes. Yeah, but like, I don't know if it would be fast enough, or like if it's just auto betting. Yeah, I mean, you can use Python to do some stuff. You can also, like, you want to hack together some stuff with Selenium, you could do that as well, but Python would probably be your best bet for some of that, unless the site has some cool integrations. I'm assuming you're gonna need to do some type of, like, you're gonna be able to see the page and like know what's going on. I don't know if you're gonna set up any, like, there's probably already tools for this, but yes, that is something that I'm confident I will be able to achieve. But yeah, how can I get color-coded syntax in Nano? I have zero idea, no idea at all. Let's what happens if we Google fancy Nano colors? This will give us the answer. Oh, toot. Nano colors, no slip underwear. We found it. We figured it out. Exactly what we were looking for. That was not what I thought it was going to be. You know, we you know, they teased us. We didn't see any no slip underpants. I don't know. I actually have no idea. I don't think it has support for Terraform language. It probably does. Nano, Terraform. I know people do a lot of development in, let's see. Oh, that makes sense. The word nano is Terraform syntax for Nano. Nano RC, improved syntax highlighting, or Terraform language. Let's see if this is in, oh, this is for Sublime Text. Improved Nano syntax highlighting. I don't know what this is, but seems like it might be it. I don't know how to use this. Does it have something for Terraform here? I don't see anything for Terraform, but maybe if you're doing some cool Nano stuff, maybe you might want to check out that. But I'm not sure, to be 100% honest. Control W Pete. Ooh, okay. Let's find out. I mean, that might shut down my whole computer, but let's see. Let's see. So let's say I open up, I'll open up this, and I'll open up this, and Control WW goes to the right, but Control W, but Control WP only goes, it goes back and forth between the one you were just at. So it doesn't completely go back one. It'll just keep going back and forth between these. Very interesting. Oh, because I guess it's cycling previous, I guess, which makes sense, I'm assuming. But still very useful. It's still very useful, like extremely useful, to be honest. Wait, let me see what happens if I have another. Let me open up another one real quick. All right, www, obviously, wp, yeah. It just cycles between two. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting closer and closer and closer. Q. Oh, first off, I did not know. So because I'm fairly new to NerdTree, when I used to only edit, I used to only Vim one file at a time, and I did not know that you could do :QA to close them all. Very nice. Very excited about that one. And boom, thank you so much, CM Griffin. Welcome, Mr. CM. Shout out to Mr. Griffin. Welcome to the channel. Everyone who's coming in from the CM Griffin show. One, how was your stream tonight? What cool, dope stuff were you doing over there? And let me, see, you see that? You see that? And I even forgot the shout out. So my bad. Shout out CM. But for anyone who doesn't know, I'm sure you're all probably very familiar with the CM Griffing Twitch channel, but does some really cool, dope programming things, a lot of JavaScript stuff, building a lot of cool tools, building a lot of stuff. I'm gonna forget it again. I think it's, what is it Stream Parrot? Is that it? I think it's Stream Parrot. But maybe not. Maybe I'm close. I never remember. Okay, got it that time. Which is kind of a cool chat overlay for Twitch, which is pretty dope, and I really need to implement it, but you boys just a bit lazy, just a little bit. What's up, everyone, for the follows? FP Jesta, welcome. Turbo Kerbo, phenomenal. Drifter Uo, I like it. Welcome to this channel. Math and Code, good to have you. We're just doing a little bit of Terraform over here, so we like to learn a lot of cool things, and tonight we are on part 3 of 6 for Terraform, which is an infrastructure provisioning tool. Allows you to declare infrastructure via code and run it through Terraform, and Terraform will make that happen for you. So it is pretty dope. You say, hey, I want some servers, hey, I want some storage spaces, I want some networks, Mr. or Mrs. Cloud Service, whether that be Amazon, whether that be Google Cloud, whether that be Microsoft Azure, whether that be, you know, all kinds of other services or platforms. You define these things using providers, and you say, hey, this is what I want, please give it to me, and it will give it to you. So that's what that's what it is. When you do, let me know the custom CSS for giant emotes and joining emote. I was thoroughly amused last time we headed over to your channel with the giant emotes. Very, very funny. I laughed a lot. They're really good. I need to take some cool screenshots or pictures like that. But absolutely, definitely will do. Do you know about the tilde key in Vim? In Vim specifically, I do not. Cannot make changes. Modifiable is off. Hold on. Let's get into I don't know what that is. What did that do? That save it? Phenomenal. I did not know about that. That is good. How do I toggle back though? I get it. So you're saying if I do this, oh, this is phenomenal. I mean, I could just undo. But you're saying if I do all this and amazing. This has been I've learned more about Vim today than I've learned in so many days before. Like practical uses, I can't tell you how many times I've needed to capitalize things because for dumb reasons, but I've needed to do this. So this is great. I appreciate that. That's good to know. So what did I learn tonight? I learned about capitalization. I also learned capital C. That is a phenomenal command because I did not like doing it's what capital C is 20 times better than $I spacebar. But yeah, you know, we're getting good out here. GV to select last select. Oh, hold on. So, oh, I'm gonna tear up. This is good stuff. This is phenomenal, useful. All right, so GV might be one that I forget. I like that a lot, but for sure C is already in my, you know, I've already committed that to muscle memory. I did not know that about tilde. Also, I do know about the brackets. I know about brackets. I haven't committed them to muscle memory yet, but I do know about the brackets to kind of jump down in between the spaces and blocks and stuff. So I do know about that. All right, so let's finish up this module stuff here. But thank you. This is good. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff. All right. So what we're doing, we're learning about modules in Terraform and creating our own modules. So we moved everything to blog, but now that we've created this module, we have to tell our root module how to use it. And so right now it doesn't know anything about this. So everything's here. If I were to do a Terraform plan right now, if I look at infrastructure.tf, wait, actually, why is that still here? Did I not save it? So we need to actually delete this. I thought we already deleted all this. I think down to here is what we want, and let's delete that. Cool. So save this, and so this file now. This file only specifies one EC2 instance, well, two EC2 instances. It specifies 2 EC2 instances right here because that's what we set up last time, but it does not specify an S3 bucket. Let's change the count to 1 really quick. F2C. Oh my gosh, already using it. 1. All right, so now we change it to 1. If we do a Terraform plan on this, it should only give us information about that server, about that EC2 instance, and that's all it gives us. This EC2 instance. It doesn't give us any information about any S3 buckets. It only gives us information about this EC2 instance, only 1 resource. But again, we have inside a blog, we have another TF file that specifies another resource. And how do we tell our root resource to use, our root module to use these extra modules? And the way that we do it is simply to use the module command. So type in module, and then you call the module name right here. So blog is what I called it. I think the folder name is what matters, not the name of the file. Pretty sure it's just the folder name. And then you simply tell Terraform where to grab it from. And so I think you just do the source, and I'll just do /blog. I think that's all I need to do. And so that'll just tell it, hey, go ahead into that blog folder and grab it. And you can go ahead and try to use these things. So save it. Let's do another plan and see what happens here. And it says, hey, all right, blog.tf line 5 resource AWS S3 website. Call to function file failed. No file exists at policy JSON. Did we not move that file over? LL. Oh, maybe I have to keep the policy JSON here. Hold on. Copy. Let's move policy JSON. Oh, that will make them interesting. Hold on. Blog. I don't think I knew this. I'll move it here. Let's try that again. And then I'll tell you what just happened. Okay, so this time that did work. So this time we have 2 things. The first time, it did not say anything about an S3 bucket, but now it says, hey, module.blog.aws S3 bucket is gonna get created because we called that thing. But so is this EC2 instance. It's still here. Both of these things are here, which is nice. So we simply put this here. That would be weird where the policy JSON file has to be. Yeah, so that's what happened here. The policy JSON, I don't like that it has to be here, but I think I can fix this. I think I can fix that. Move policy in the blog. And maybe if I them blog, right now I'm calling it at just policy.json. Maybe if I call it at /policy.json so that it's explicit to here, or I might have to call it at /blog/policy.json. I don't know. One of these 2 things will work. Let's find out. Let's try this one first. Mr. Demon Wolf, hello. Good to see you. Good to have you here. And yes, this looks like it worked. Specifying the exact thing that we have here. Oh, if you're saying you can't type, you know for sure I can't type, so don't be afraid. Try Control A and Control X on any line with a number. Hold on. This is, we might need to have a whole day where all we're doing is you all teaching me more Vim stuff. So you're saying Control A. What? First off, it saved it, and then you said, or Control X. Oh, wait. What? I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Okay. Control A, it changed that number to 4. Oh, this is great. I don't know why I would use this though. This is phenomenal. This is, oh man. Oh yes, this is phenomenal. Why would I do this? Someone tell me what would I need this for? I need a scenario. And what's funny is, what's even more funny about that is, I didn't realize what you said about with a number, and there was a number on this line, because there could have easily not been a number on the line, and I would have been like, you're making stuff up. That command does nothing. Like if I would have just done it like down here, and that doesn't do anything, and I would have been very confused. All right. Try 10 Control A. On line 10, or just go back to that line, go back to line 2, and you're saying 10. Wait, can I just, whoa, okay, so right now it says 13, so you're telling me that if I do 100, Control A, it adds 100. This is phenomenal. So it's X minus, so if I do 100 and I want S3, so if I do 110 and I do Control X, get at me. This is phenomenal. So I like Vim. I like Vim. I use Vim because I'm a systems guy, and I use it in very basic ways. I edited files. I use, just basic stuff. And then I saw the Prime again, and he was doing crazy stuff with Vim, and I was a VS Code user, and I threw it out the window. I said, you know what? I built a keyboard because I want to learn how to type better. I'm a terrible typist. I'm getting better at that. I said I'll use Vim so I can get better at typing. And then, I started to fall into it. So I do use Vim exclusively now, and I'm not even amazing at it, but I've already found it to be really good for my workflow. But now you all, I mean, oh man, I'm gonna have to head over to the Prime again channel and teach him some tricks, because, oh man, now I don't think, my problem is with that Control AX thing, I probably won't have enough use cases for me to like really want to use that a lot. So I'm probably going to forget it. I'm probably going to forget that, but that's pretty dope. That is really dope. Probably gives myself, but hey, he's phenomenal. I'm always really impressed. Oh man, that's nice. That is so, even, does it matter where you are, where your cursor is? Or will it not do this one because it's a comment? Oh, it does matter where your cursor is. Okay, that's cool. That's good to know. Got to play around. Excellent. Oh, this is good stuff. You all don't realize that when I'm done with this and I'm doing other things, I mess around with this stuff a lot. The stuff that you all teach me. I have to mess around with things to get them to stick. This is phenomenal. This is good stuff. Okay, back to modules. I'm very sorry. I got excited and I feel really bad at it. Okay, so we already saw that now our module will work. So great. We moved, we now have our blog module that is here now. So all of our code for our blog is here. So if we ever, wanted to extend this to someone else who wanted an S3 bucket that has static hosting, we could provide them this. Now, it's not currently super configurable or anything, and there's no amazing, if we just do a tree here, there's no crazy nesting. That's kind of weird. Excuse me, sorry. But we have a module here. It's kind of it has its own resource. It only has one resource, but it's all here. We could put everything here. Like maybe we'd have a collection of resources that made up our development system. So right now our development servers only have an EC2 instance, but what if they had things like a net? Maybe they had a VPC and they had subnets that were set up, and maybe they had some elastic IPs and some load balancers and some servers. All these things could be put into a web server module, and it would have all the resources that were needed, and we could simply call that web server module from the main from the root module. And so it's a simplified way of kind of managing the code, of structuring the code. And again, these modules are reusable, or you can create them to be reusable, and you can head over to registry.terraform.io/modules, and I'll paste this in, and you can likely find modules for things that you already wanted to do. Yes, tree is a phenomenal command. I'm a visual person, and it really does help me understand how things are set up. Like, it really does help me kind of see things. I do use tree. I don't use it terribly often, but I used to use it a lot. Now, I use it when it makes sense, but yeah. Okay, so that was one of the things that we had to do. So it's already modularized right now. It's not a good module at all, but it works as a module. It is off to its own place. We called it in our code. again, we called it in our code as a module. We called the blog as its own module, and that's how it's deploying. It says in there module dot S3 bucket, which is really nice. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with our EC2 instance real quick. Let's do the same thing with our EC2 instance, and then we'll go through and do the other pieces that we kind of have in there. So let's move this code over and do its own little module. And let's go ahead and yank that. Actually, let's go ahead and delete that. Actually, I'm not gonna delete it. I'm gonna yank it because I never know if Vim is going to properly keep the buffer between sessions. So let's actually save this real quick, and we won't have to do that way. Let's actually just make a directory. And so that server, those servers that we set up they were development servers, and so maybe we want to say development. We want to call it development servers, or dev we'll call it dev. We'll call it dev instances. I don't like the name, but we'll call it dev instances. It's going to be this new module that we have here. And again, this is not always the best use case for instances. A lot of times these are going to be so you can use them in this fashion to where you're going to have a collection of resources that are used to kind of create a bigger thing. Also, you can use these modules as a kind of wrapper way, as a wrapper around some other things to make it easy to work with certain resources or certain collections of resources as well. But I'll just call that one dev instances just because. And we'll go in there and we will create a file of the same name. And actually, let's go back and we can use nerd tree because we're trying to get better. So use the things that we have available. And so inside of dev instances, I'm going to append, let's call this a file of the same name, dev instances.tf. And in here, we're going to open this up. And then we are also going to WP. Oh, there we go. Even though WW would have worked there, we're also going to open up. What else do we need? We also need this file here. Split that. And now we can just do it again. WP works there. Close this out. Let's take this over here. Take all the rest of this, yank it. Actually, no, that's not what we want to do. Perfect timing, perfect timing. Now I can use that GV because I just yanked that when I meant to delete it. So what I can do is that GV again, phenomenal. Oh, this is phenomenal. Learning good stuff that's immediately applicable to me. I love it. So I'll paste this over here and we can delete that. All right, so kind of create this new module file which has this stuff over here, but now we need to call it over here. We need to call it in our root file. So now we will simply call module and we'll call it dev servers maybe. Actually, I think I can call this whatever I want. Can I call this whatever I want? I don't know. It might have to be the name of the folder. Let's try real quick just so I know what answer to give you. So maybe I want to call this dev instance. Let's try that and let's see if it matters what this is called. And in here, let's go source equals, and the file that it's in is dev instances. And I think it's just like that. And so let's see what happens when we do that right here. And so we have dev instances right here. We have the module file in there, the TF file that exists in there. And if we do a Terraform plan, module dev instance is not installed. I don't think I can call it that. I think I have to call it. I think I have to call it what the name of the folder is for it to work properly. Dev instances. Let's plan it again. Oh no. Oh, do I have to? I shouldn't have to Terraform init, should I? Dev instances. What do we call it? Dev instances. Okay. Maybe I do. Really? I thought I didn't do Terraform init last time, or did I? I don't remember doing it. Okay, cool. But now I need to go back and change it to see if it works without it. But yeah, let's see. I use below command so often that I forget. Bash RC to create simple. I like that a lot. Yes, I used to set up a bunch of aliases, and then when I set up a bunch of aliases when I was learning Linux, and it messed me up for when I went somewhere else and I forgot to grab my my bash RC at the time, and I lost all my aliases, and I stopped using a lot of aliases because I wanted to remember what I was doing. But yes, the bearded gamer, how are you doing? This game's great. How you doing? Absolutely. Let's see. All right, here we go. So just notice that now it's going to add two things. Again, it's going to add, let's look at the top. It's going to add module.dev instances. So now it's actually calling these things as modules rather than actual resources inside of the root, of kind of the root thing that we have here. So keeps it a little bit more simple. You know, and again, modules, you can pull modules from elsewhere. We could pull a module right now if we wanted to from the Terraform registry that someone else already wrote to kind of utilize in our code, but we can go ahead and we can do that. So let's save this, and let's before we deploy anything, let's look through the other things that we had to learn tonight and that we want to do. Oh, the last thing we need to learn about, so we did this part too. Convert dev server into modules. Last thing on the list to run through really fast is export variables, or output variables, sorry. So output variables can be used to pass information between modules and for debugging. So you can actually pass information from child modules to parent modules, but they're also really good for debugging. And so what I'm going to show you a very simple use case for this now. It kind of takes it takes a little bit to really get really comfortable with these output variables, but one of the great things it does is things like this. So if I were to spin up an EC2 instance, a web server, there's a lot of things that end up getting created that we can specify, but if you don't specify them, they say things like this: known after apply. These are things that Amazon will automatically do for us. You know, the services will automatically do, and you can take these values after everything has been created and this information comes back, and we can apply those to output variables. So we can create variables that contain the values of these things. So we can actually get this information, which is useful for a number of things. Not only can we get the information just for ourselves to kind of collect information and again to debug, we can actually pass that information from modules to modules. So maybe we need to do something to where we needed the ARN, the Amazon resource name for a certain resource. Maybe we need that so that we can set up, you know, a IAM role or policy using that thing. But you know, you got to get the ARN first. You got to get that first. You can set up a variable for that to kind of grab that, so you can pass that around to other things. So it's kind of cool. But we'll really quickly do that. Very simple to do. Our devs can also use them like outputs in CloudFormation. Yes, exactly. It's exactly like outputs in CloudFormation. Exactly. If you use variables in a module, you have to copy variables.tf to that folder. SimCity, we're absolutely going to get there tonight. Absolutely. Yes. Those variables need to be, they're scoped to that module folder. Yes. Variable scoping is very, very interesting. But we're gonna add some variables in a second. But let me just show you how an output variable works really quick. Let's vim infrastructure.tf. Whoa. And down at the bottom. So also, does anyone know how to? So I know that O in vim will start a new line, also put me in insert mode. But does anyone know how to start typing at the bottom of the bottom? Try doing CI anywhere in your strings. I don't know what that did. I don't know what that's doing. It went into insert mode. CI and then hold on. Oops. So you're saying let me go back up to like mastermind, and you're saying CI quotes. Oh, actually, I was already in it. CI quotes. So I use DI. So CI, same thing, but it puts you in insert mode. Nice. I do use DI. So that makes sense to me. Excellent. Yes, I was like, DI works for me because I'm, it's delete inside. But now that I'm familiar with the C command, phenomenal. Why, there's no reason to use, D anymore. C seems to be far superior. I love it. Yes, but how do I start editing at the bottom of the file? Like if I want to append a new line 14 and start typing, Shift G cap. Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Hold on. So let's say I was like up here. But that almost did it. L will press the cursor at the bottom. So let's go back up to 1. L will put the cursor, but why is it doing that? Oh, just lowercase o. Okay. They're saying just, oh yeah, just lowercase o. Phenomenal. This is amazing. We're getting so good. What's up, the sub network? Good to have you. Thank you for the follow. CBX Pounce, Fun Slot. Welcome everyone. Good to have you. We're learning a lot today. I'm learning so much. Yes, lowercase o. Thank you so much. Oh, Geo, which makes perfect sense. Okay. So what we need to do here is make an output. So I think output is just outputs, or maybe it's just output. Can't remember if it's output or outputs. Let's find out. Let's Google it. Remember, I tell you all the time, I don't spend a lot of time memorizing, the exact syntax, spaces, all that other stuff. I always forget because you can always reference, learn the concept. I know that there are things called outputs. I know how to use outputs. Is the word output? I don't know. Whenever I need to reference it, I will. And if I'm writing a lot of Terraform, I'll start to remember those things. And then when I stop writing Terraform, I'll forget. And then I'll have to look it up again. Terraform output example, output values, and it's just output. And you give it a variable name. So these are variables, and you give it the variable name. And then the only thing that's required is a value. So let's just look at one really quick. So let's put output test, test var, and just a test one that we're creating here. And we're simply going to give it a value. You must give it a value, and we're going to hard code a value here. And our value is going to be, this is a test. All right. And so when you do this, let me go ahead and let me run this. The only problem is, we're actually going to remove the S3 bucket really quick. The only problem is these are only going to kick out. These are only going to kick out when you actually apply. So they're outputs from an apply, not outputs from a plan. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to not use, I'm not going to use the blog stuff right now. Wait. I always try to remember how to block comments. VI escape. Did it. Here we go. So I'm going to remove that. I'm only going to spin up the dev instances really quick so that we can see that. A good output would be like a public IP address. Absolutely. We're going to add a public IP address as an output right after this. So I'm going to do a Terraform apply 844. All right, we're right on time. So I'm going to apply this. This is actually going to give me web infrastructure. Maybe I'll log in really quick. Console.adbs. Log in. Let's get me a I have two-factor auth here, so I gotta hop into my auth app. Ignore this for now. Mastermind 257. Let's go ahead and get logged in, and in here what it did is it spun up one of these server instances. And the one that is spun up was this Hoist internal development. You can see it actually is fresh. It is still initializing. It is a T3 micro. Excellent. So it just spun that up for us. It actually created web infrastructure for us just by deploying some code. But check this out. Our outputs are test var equals, this is a test, so you can see what these variables are equal to. And I think if you ever want to see them alone, you can type in output, yeah, and you can see a list of all the things that were output. Now that's great, but not really useful because we didn't actually do anything that mattered. But what you can do is output any of the arguments or any of the parameters that are a part of a resource. So let's actually change that. And again, I think that these are all things, great outputs for blog, for EC2. So let's find out what that public IP address is so that we can log in without ever having to go to the console. So let's do this. Infrastructure.tf. Instead of this being the value, I think the way that you call it, and again, I'm gonna have to, nope, this is not what I need to do. All right, does anyone know how to use, okay, never mind, got it, capital F. And actually I need to go back one, and you see, what's up, Sesquil Z? Welcome to the channel. So glad you felt it in your heart to sub with your Prime, your Twitch Prime, or is it's Prime Gaming now and not Twitch Prime anymore. So subscribe with Prime. So thank you so much for using your Prime Gaming sub for me. I do appreciate it. Okay, so the value, the way that you call this is a little bit different. That when you want to reference a so what we're doing is we're actually referencing a value that is in this dev instances thing. So actually this may make it a little bit easier for us if we do this right here and we look at our dev instances and we open this up and we WP, we close it. All right, so these are all the kind of parameters that I was talking about, arguments that I was talking about. And so we can say something like this. Output, I think it would have to be AWS instance because it is an AWS instance. I don't know if I need to have it in, I don't know if it needs to be a string or not, but let's find out. Instance, and you need to use dot notation here. And so I need to give it AWS instance because AWS instance can have a bunch of different ones. You need to specify the like internal name for it, which is development server here. Development server. Now I did account 1, so I might have to give it development server 0, but with a development server, and then you do another dot, and then you do whatever the output name you want to be. So if I wanted to find out the AMI, it will look something like this. And let me actually close this over here for now. It will be something like this. AWS instance development server .ami. And so this would give me the AMI, but what I want is the public IP. And if I'm not sure what I can grab, the way that you do that is you got to go back to the, you have to go to the documentation and so AWS, let's see, Terraform. And so this is in the registry, .terraform.io, but Terraform, EC2 instance. And you can find out, oops, where am I looking? Where's the, everything, they changed up the look of the, I can probably find it through there. Very interesting. Let's see, inputs, maybe it'll tell me here. Okay, here we go. I'll find the optional inputs. Let's see, find public. Associate public IP address. That's not what it is. You need to associate public IP address. Oh yeah, I do need to do that first to get it, but we'll grab private for now. I do need to do that, but let's first grab the private, even though it's not going to help us to log in, but just so you can see that it'll give us this information without it, should give us this. We can associate, we can add that as well to it, but this is the thing that we want. Now I'm going to, we'll leave it there. We'll see what happens if I do a plan here. Apply. We'll plan it out first. AWS instance development server has not been declared in the root module. I think this is because I need to give this a 0 because I have a count on there. Let's see. Nope. Has a development server. Let me look at it. Not been declared in the root module. Oh, I wonder, do I have to oh, for outputs, do I need to first call it at do I not call it like this? Do I call it from the module name? I never remember this part either. Let's see. Let me see really quick. Let's look at the examples. Outputs, that server module must be declared using each output AWS instance server private IP. Let's see. What's up, Thug Muffin? How are you doing? You need your dollar. Oh, yes. So no, actually, I was gonna say, I don't think you do all the time. I don't think you do. I think it's because it's in a module. Thing hasn't been declared, so I think I just need to reference it by the module name instead. Is that it? Because it is a module, do I need to do it at dev instances instead in private IP? And it's not been declared in the root module. I know it hasn't been declared in the root module. Yeah, same. Well, not been a while since I haven't done an output from a module in a little bit. Hold on. Dev instance, AWS instance, private IP. The name of this is actually, what did I call the name of this? And tell me what it is. I never remember the order of what I have to do. Let's see. And the development server, AWS instance, or what was the error actually? Let's so whenever I hit, someone asked me about this the other day and I forgot to tell people. They asked about Vim. Sometimes I usually save and exit or just exit, but sometimes you'll see me hit Control Z. They didn't know what I was hitting to get out of it quickly. They saw me type in FG and they weren't sure what FG was. Control Z in Linux just puts a running process into the background, and FG brings it back to the foreground. So that's what I was doing to go back and forth. You have to make an output for. Oh yeah. I'm tripping. I'm actually tripping. Yeah, I definitely have to do that. So this would work no problem. This would work no problem if I had created this in the root module though. But yes, I do have to make an output for it in the module. And so you can do a couple of different things. I'm trying to think. I was trying to show you guys something very specific. I'm about to make it in a second, but I was trying to show you guys something very specific. Before earlier I was like, I really want to show this, but I'm trying to think about what it was. What's up, ISO Top? Lurking, you no longer lurking, exit lurk mode. I appreciate it. Wait, why the double dot? Oh, the dot dot's not there. We removed the dot dot is not there. We removed what was in between here because I was trying to get it. We actually have to specify the output here in the module so that we can see it. And so let's just take this and V down, exit, WP over here, new line, paste, output, test var, AWS instance, and I think I can just do it like normal here, development server. Nice. I think this will do it for us, no problem. And I'll go back so you guys can see that. I just want to see if it works. Let's see. AWS instance development server has count set. So attributes supposed to be accessed. Yes. So excellent. So what's happening is phenomenal. Let me go back in there. We have to specify the output in the module because that is where the resource is being created. And so we put the output here, and this actually does, I'm pretty sure it will work. The problem is, because we have a count specified here, we need to account for that here. So whenever you have a count, it actually creates an array of resources And so this is actually the one we're trying to get is 0. I don't think this will work actually. I may have to do this a different way, or remove the count from this simply because we only have one server. But let's see if this works. I don't know, might work. We're just trying some fun stuff out. Okay, so adding that worked. No, maybe it didn't. Swapping to laptop so I can actually try typing. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then do I have to then why didn't it actually spit that out to me? infrastructure.tf dev instances, and if I go to Terraform, hold on, I'm trying to rush because I have 5 minutes. Terraform outputs, output state doesn't have anything in it, so I'm doing this wrong. 1 second. Terraform module outputs, pretty simple, just Google it. Module configuration language, let's see, child module, module source, we already did that. Accessing, transferring state, module server, output values, accessing module output values, there we go. This is module. The resources defined in the modules are encapsulated, so calling the module cannot access their attributes directly. However, the child module can declare output values to selectively export certain values, access app cluster, output value named instance IDs. Then calling the module can reference the resulting module, the server. Oh, instances equals. So now do I have to set a... Interesting. So now do I set this like modules dot whatever as the output variable in the root? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Module, oh yeah, you said it. If a child module name, web server output name, perfect. That is, we got it. We got it simply by reading. I think we're on the same page. If you have the output pour that is red. Let's see. Let's just do it the simple way first. So if I'm understanding correctly, which I may not be understanding correctly, you're saying that right here, down here, I can specify now an output. But that now does it have a different test var though? Let's see. So in parent module, outputs of child modules are available in expressions as modules. Module name, the output name. Cool. So I don't know if a child module name web server declare output. So, but do I have to specify another output? Another output like this, and like, so it seems weird because now I'm gonna have to give it another name. Okay, so in the output you can do like this. So can I do like real test, and then in there can I do the value is actually the module name, so dev instances dot what is it, module name, output name, which was test var dot just like this. Is that like a thing? AWS instance development server star private IP. So yes, I do think I can do the star, but the problem is I don't think it's going to output, because I think I have to reference that output here. So like, okay, we can pull this out for a second, but inside of dev instances, I have this here. So I put this module, I put this here so I can make a star instead, which is fine, even though I only have one. But that will not fully, I still have to do, it seems like I still have to do something in the root module. And what I'm reading is, let's try this. What I'm reading here is simply that to do that, accessing module output values, module.servers.instance IDs. It seems like I would have to call it at module.item. Whatever the thing that I want is, but the example that they have here doesn't show me making it another whoops, that was my alarm. We're looking at my 9 o'clock alarm. All right, hold on, let's try to get this. Providers with modules. I've done this before. Let's see. Export. Hold on. Terraform. Module. Output. And usually, if you type it not working, someone will give you an example of one that works properly. Output. Root module says hello. Root module output says module.world module says. Okay, so maybe I have to logical perform from root. If you actually need the output, then you'd output it in root. So main.tf might have something like this. Interesting. So let's try this. Module.world. Okay, module.world. And then the name of the output. Okay, maybe. So let's try one quick. I want to get this to work. Module is dev instances dot see, it feels like it's going to be whoops, I don't remember what was in the other file. Is that what we want? So does it need to be dot like AWS instance? This feels wrong. This is definitely wrong. For sure wrong. Let me look back at this example. So calling the module, that's fine. World modules. Okay, got it. Output world module says it's calling itself. World modules .world. I don't know. Maybe I should have read this guy's problem. Root module says main.tf. Ugh. I don't know what's happening. Output's not displaying when using modules. See, these are all. I think part of the problem is also people using this. I forgot I could also do an outputs.tf. Module SAML role dot arn role 1 dash arn. You also need another output file with your main. So yeah, you need two outputs here to capture the output from your module. And the last thing will be the capture here. Okay, I think I got it. And this actually might be it. Actually, we may have it. Not test var and not comma test var. This is dot. Expects the start of an expression, but found an invalid expression token. Let's actually remove. We're trying. We're messing around. I really don't need to be messing around this much. AWS instance has been declared, not by the root. Last thing, dev instances. What do we call those dev instances for the very last try? The Hail Mary. We called it development server. development server star, and we also called it test var. Yeah, we did. We also called it test var. Let's see. This is our last chance, and then we're gonna move on. Okay, we tried it. But yes, outputs simply allow you to gather that information. They're actually they're easier to use than I'm making it. I don't know where I went wrong, but I'll figure it out before next time, and also push it. But what outputs allow you to do, again, is to, one, gather some information for some troubleshooting or for your own purposes, information that you may want to collect after an application or after an apply, to make sure certain information is returned to you. Because again, a lot of those things that are listed there are not given to you until you apply them. But another great thing is that, because what we're trying to do now is pass information from a child module up to a parent, that is what they're good for as well. So you can pass this information after applications of things, after modifications of things, up to other things and things. It makes it easy to pass information around. Outputs are cool. We are going to be doing more outputs. We're going to have to do outputs to get some stuff finished for the projects that we're doing, for some of the stuff that we're building. So that did not work. But I want to stay and finish up these two things, even though we already did it. Just templatizing some of these things, creating variables. I wanted to do it for the stuff that we have now, but I do actually have to go. But we did already do these things. We basically did them in a different directory. But what you can try to do is let's push this code really quick. Let's remove dev instances outputs real quick. Let's remove this, and then let's push this. What this will do is, let's go ahead and add infrastructure.tf. We're gonna add, well, no, let's add infrastructure.tf, blog, dev instances. We're not gonna add Terraform state because we don't want to. Well, you don't need the Terraform state anyway. The only reason I added it in the first place in the beginning was going to be to show you all how to handle the your flow, and how to, what to add to your git ignore, which you're still going to do. So don't worry about that. And git commit -m created modules out of S3 and EC10 dev server resources. Sure. And we also, I think we added some variables, but what you can do is, we're gonna push this. What you can do is you can take this and you can try to convert some of those things. Take what we did earlier in here and try to convert some of those things inside of the modules to create some variables files out of it. So if we go into dev instances here and we look at dev instances, we can pull some of this information out. We can create a variable for this AMI in a variables.tf file. Same thing for instance type and key name. We already did this before, but you can practice taking it from there now. You got to work, use the syntax, output real test, value equals module dot dev. Okay. Now we got to test it real quick. We got to test it really quick and do this and this is in the root module. Do I need to still export? I think I still need to export the other one, but let's check that out real fast. CD ... leave the other one as it is. So I already removed the other one, but I'll add it again. I removed it just before I pushed it up to GitHub, but real fast, let's get on down here. Oh, I probably should have removed this one anyway. Let's see. So really, this is all wow, what's happening? Let's remove all this. Let's remove this. Let's go over here and get rid of this. And let's see. So this looks right. Module.test var. But then in the last one, what I did was dev instances, dev instance. Here, I created an output here. And that output was equal to test var and output test var value, and we set that equal to AWS instance dot development server star dot, oh no, hold on. All right, just had to send a message to who I'm supposed to meet. That's all done. Development server star, what was it, just private IP, and close that out, and let's apply. Dev instances is, oh, that's spelled wrong. Vim capital I, the I, no, just FI. Ah, man, too many buttons all at once. We're under the gun. I'm feeling the pressure. We got to do it. What's up, Rima? And that's, you did it, Sin City. You did it. You did it. You were able to do it. So what this did is give us the private IP. Private IP, relatively useless to us right now. We are not doing any, we're not inside of any type of VPN. We're not logged into any servers right now, but it does give us that output again that we can see. From Terraform output, we can kind of get that information that we might want to have. Again, something you may want to do with this is get the public IP address. So you can, set it up to where you don't even need to log into the console at all. You can get the information back that you need, the key, the IP address that you need to use, and you can go ahead and use that information to go ahead and get logged in or do whatever you want with it. But yeah, let's that's it. Again, Sin City, you got it. You get the clap for the day. I can't quite give you MVP for the day because let me scroll back up, because Maniac __ came along and gave us all the phenomenal Vim knowledge that we need. But you're right there. Excellent. You're right there. But perfect. So what did we learn tonight? Really quick tangible takeaways here. What we learned tonight is, one, that you can use variables inside of the HashiCorp configuration language. In that you can specify a variable kind of like you specify a resource. So you can declare a variable inside of your main TF file or inside of a variables.tf file, that's where you declare them. You can give them default values as well, but you can also use a variables.tf vars or terraform.tf vars file, which allows you to you can't declare variables, you can't create variables, but you can assign them values. You can assign keys and values. We saw how to kind of set that up, and you can kind of use those. We also learned that you can set up variables via environment variables. So if you create a Linux environment variable that has a prefix of capital TF _ var _ and then the name of the variable, that will also get picked up as well. But the TF vars file will overtake it. It'll take it on. It will overtake it. It takes precedence over that. We also learned about modules. We learned about kind of isolating the code a little bit away from the root module. We learned that we can kind of move the code down into these modules that can kind of be kind of self-contained, but allow you to kind of package up multiple resources to do some cool things. And we saw that you can create a module pretty simply. Whether or not it's a good module, not a big deal, but you can create modules pretty simply, kind of in that root directory, creating a folder for them. And then you have to call them like you would call a function, or like you would call, a method, and say, hey, I want to use this module that exists in this directory, and it will pull those resources in as needed. We also learned a little bit about outputs, output variables. They are variables, and they allow you to gather information or to export information to pass around to other resources, from child resources to parent resources. But again, also for debugging purposes, you can gather information about your stuff after it is applied. These outputs are only outputted. They only get outputted after an apply happens. The plan will not give you this information. It's after changes have taken effect. It's like, it's what gets kicked out at the end. And again, you can use that for debugging as well as to pass this information around. And that you can also get modules from registry.tf terraform.io/modules. There's a lot of modules there for you to use, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can take a lot of those to do a lot of the cool stuff that you want to do. But that's it for tonight. That's it. We'll be back on Wednesday. And what are we gonna learning on Wednesday? I do not remember. Let's see real quick. We'll be back with state management. So we learned about what state was, but we're gonna learn about the different ways to manage state, because that's very important, especially on a distributed team, because you're almost always gonna be on a distributed team when you're doing this. So that's great. We'll learn about Terraform backends, state locking, which also goes into the state management section, and secrets management. Someone asked about secrets management today. We'll learn about managing secrets as passwords, API keys, things like that. So that's what we're gonna be doing. Oh, that's 6. Yeah, let's change that right now. Hoist infrastructure. Let's change it right now. Make it real easy. Day 6. It is now fixed. If you should refresh your page, you will now see the proper day. Oh no, that's the wrong page. Let's go back here. Let's go down to day 6, all fixed that fast. Notion's kind of nice for that real-time editing of the page. That's 6. We should have kept it there. But yeah, thank you everyone for the great night. I gotta get out of here. I really gotta get out of here and get to this meeting. Sorry I couldn't stay longer as I usually do. Sorry we had to rush through, but we had a little bit of fun. Thank you all so much for the Vim knowledge. But again, back on Wednesday with part 4 of this. We'll be back tomorrow with the build series. We've made progress in our application. We're building a Gatsby application to build an open source course building tool. So I'll see you all tomorrow, or I'll see you all on Wednesday. Who are we rating real quick? We have to rate. We can't skip our things that are sacred to us. We cannot. Let's head over to let me go to science and technology. Let's see. Someone's testing Heroku. Yeah, let's head over, because Heroku is pretty cool. We're learning about infrastructure as code. Heroku is a platform as a service which you can actually use. All right, let's go small streamer. I agree, let's go small streamer, but you can actually use Terraform to manage that as well. Let's head over to Getting Sassy with Sass. I like it. Darth Varg TV. That's what we're heading over. Was that an owl? I don't know if there was an owl, but let's head over to Dark Varg TV. So Sass, pretty dope. If anyone who's trying to do some of that web development, that web dev stuff, doing some React, that's what we will do. We'll raid Darth Varg TV. So /raid Darth Varg TV. Peace out everyone. See ya later. Wait, I always do this when we have to wait 10 seconds, because it makes you wait 10 seconds for everyone to just kind of get on in and get ready to head over and say what's up to Darth Varg TV. Peace out everyone. See you tomorrow.